Now at 6, emergency crews in Longmeadow responded to the scene in the area of the Converse Street and Redfern Drive last night for a car stuck in a group of trees about 10 feet up in the air. Now, thankfully, no one was injured. Western Mass News reporter Olivia Hickey joins us live in studio after stopping by that scene earlier this afternoon. Olivia.
Chris, when we arrived to the area of the crash, we found tire marks in the road and shattered glass. First, take a look at these photos of the crash scene. The Longmeadow Fire Department shared them with us. You can see the car in the trees. This happened near the Genesis House assisted living facility on Redfern Drive around 8 o'clock Thursday night. Management there tells Western Mass News some trees out front were damaged, which we saw when we checked out the area this afternoon, but most of their residents slept through it. One resident I spoke with off camera also saying they did not hear anything, but did express concern about speeding in the area, with a crosswalk near the crash site many use to get around town. When I spoke with Captain Carl Mazzaferro from the Longmeadow Police Department, he says the speeding concerns are no different than any other part of town. Tom Lachuza, the chair of the town select board, sharing with Western Mass News, they have not heard about any dangers with that road or know of any complaints with that intersection. The car's occupants were safely helped out of the car by police and fire crews. The investigation into the crash is ongoing. Reporting for Western Mass News, I'm Olivia Hickey.